right, here we are. Friday. Did get a haircut. Can't tell I'm all sweaty. But Friday, getting ready. Second outing. Compound Fox, compound problems, compound trouble, compound whatever. Lots of issues, but seems to be working all right. Changes this week. What we're working on, we went ahead and we took these guys off. Let's see if we can get them in the picture there. Those Comp Engineering 3-way adjustables. Took those off. We put us on some, I don't know if I want to get down on the bottom down here. Put on some double adjustable Vikings. Now, they don't have much travel. That's one issue. We got about an inch and a half sticking out, maybe 2 inches sticking out. These only have 4.5 inches of travel. But I believe it's gonna have enough in order to, it's gonna have enough to get, I wanna try to slow down the separation. So the changes for this week are gonna be double adjustables. Gonna throw 7 at the rebound, 11 at the compression. So it should separate slowly and hold it. And then I went ahead and I adjusted the front shocks half tight, half right in the middle. So that way they're not full loose, so it doesn't just pop up that quick wheelie and then separate and spin. So I'm still gonna run on these older tires. They seem to grab. I'm gonna run them for all they got. You know, tires are not cheap, so I'm gonna see if I can make it work. Plus, if I can make this stuff work on these tires, then I can go back to the track with some new tires and do probably pretty well. And I know if I threw radials on it right now, it would grab it and go, because I could just let the rebound full loose and just let it pound the tire to the ground. But it's a little bit more of a challenge, just like everything else that I do. A little bit more of a challenge to make it work. Same thing as working with these little bugger engines, these little Y 2.0 Mitsubishis, 4-bangers. But it's gonna be start of this video. I'll take some more when I'm out there, and let's hope we get into the goal for the night is a sub 135 60 foot. I was gonna be a little aggressive and say I want to get in the 120s, but let's not be ridiculous here. All right, you know, sometimes the guy wants to go a little too much and lets himself down. So today we're gonna try to put my glasses on. I can't even see myself in this thing. We're gonna try to just see if we can get a sub 135. So get us closer to the 120s. If we can get it into the 120s, great. But a sub 135 would make me happy, or right around a 135. If I can knock off that 0.06 off of my first one, and then go from there. And I'm not gonna run any further. I didn't get the fuel system sorted out, so I only have enough fuel to launch it, and that's it. So we'll see you out at the track, and hopefully we get a good outing and everything goes smoothly. And then maybe next week I'll get the other fuel pump on it finally. I tried to put my other one on, but it ended up leaking, and it was leaking out the body of it. So it must have been from sitting. The O-ring must have crapped out on. I run the Bosch 044 pumps, and if they sit, that O-ring can get hard and then it'll leak by it. So I tried everything I could. I got all the fittings and everything to throw it on, and I did put it on, but it started leaking. So we're gonna go with this tonight, and we'll see what happens. So I'll be with you here shortly at the track. I'll get back to you, and hopefully I'll have somebody out there that can get us some good videos of the launch, separation, everything, so I can see what's going on with the suspension and try to tune that in. That's the main goal right now, is to try to tune that suspension in. So anyway, I'll see you at the track. Good morning, everyone. Saturday morning, doing a little recap on what happened last night at the track, second outing with the compound whatever, and went out there. My buddy Chris Arteaga is there, Kevin Ortiz is there racing, and Bobby Rodriguez is there racing his truck. I'm gonna throw some videos of their vehicles in there as well as mine. First of all, I'll go over, as earlier in the video, I said I'd be happy with anything sub 135. Well, I got a 135. So I guess I'm half happy. Gonna throw some videos in here to compare the last week versus this week. The double adjustables definitely did their job. It did better. First pass did a 139, and it still did a wheelie, popped up real quick, and I don't know if it bounced on that one. I'll have to look at the video, but second one I tightened down the front end, and then it did a 135. And Chris's also did a 135. He's got a 6-liter VS Racing 7875 on it. Power glide that I put together for him. He's on a Holly. I think he's 10 pounds max. Came out on 3. So complete different types of builds. And then also Kevin, I think he has a 408 or something in that car. I think it's a 408. And then he's got a much bigger turbo. He just put a power glide in it, and he has double adjustable Vikings in the rear. Brand new tires on his Hoosier CO7s. And then Bobby's is a S10 truck with I think it's an under 500 cubic inch, a big block Chevy with a 250 shot. So I'm gonna throw this video up here because all 3 or 4 of these, 4 cars pretty much had the same 60 foot. They all had 135s or 136 right there about. You guys go. My dogs they hear me talking. They think they got to do something. It's inevitable. But I'll throw this up there, and I'm going to try to put in some video one after the other, break it up so you can see and slow it down from last week to this week, so you can see the difference in what the rear suspension did. It definitely helped. It slowed down the separation enough that it could keep it on the tire without coming right back up. And I can throw some more power at it. I am still on the one single 044 pump, and it is also ramping the boost super fast. I came out on 23 pounds, and at the 60 foot it was like 35 pounds, and it ended up being like 13.5 to 1 air fuel ratio by the 60 foot, and then shortly after it was at 41 pounds, and it got all the way up close to 15 to 1, so super lean. And it's not really making power on the second half of the 60 foot, I'd say. So I think there's still even a lot more in the 60 foot for motivation of the car. I think it's coming off, but I also need to address the front end now. I think this week it's got the 175 shocks, springs on there. And with this having such a light engine in the front, I think it just lets it pop right up, and it doesn't have like a lot of power to just carry the wheelie out. It did carry it better this time. It didn't pop right up and down. In the second video, you can see that it's up and carries it out probably, I don't know, I don't even want to say, it's probably 5 to 7 feet and then comes down. So it's not up and straight down like it was. But I think I'm gonna put the lighter springs on, or get some longer front springs that are lighter. That way it'll give it a sprung load. Because right now it's like if you had a big heavy spring and you dropped it on the ground, it's not gonna spring very far up at you. Like say you have a large coil spring, you drop it on the ground, it's not gonna bounce right back up at you real hard. Whereas if you have a light spring that's real long and you drop it, it's gonna bounce almost right back up to you you could almost compare it to like a ball. If you had a ball that was kind of heavy but flat, kind of like a medicine ball. You drop a medicine ball, it's not really bouncing up at you, but you take a lightweight little rubber ball and you drop it, it's gonna bounce right up to you. So it's kind of the same thing with the front springs. So it really needs the lighter springs to allow it to have some stored energy I can probably then, it'll be able to control it better. Because right now I don't think the shock can control the spring at all. It just comes right up and then it's topped out really quick. So we'll work on that. I think that's the next thing. It's probably gonna improve the 60 foot. I am going to, I'll show you some screenshots of the log so you can see how lean it was getting. So that is absolutely on my list of things to do this week, getting at least the second fuel pump on, or a better fuel pump on. So we'll try that. Let's see, dump valve, I haven't done the dump valve yet. Gonna maybe try to get that done this week. It's still working with what it has, it just takes a little longer to spool. And then I can't think of much else I'm gonna do with it right now. I feel like I'm if I can just get it to run out the 8th at this point, I feel like it's got the 60 foot, that it'll probably run a 5 something if I run out the 8th. So I'm feeling pretty good about where the car is already. The tires, you know, I say it again, I prefer not to run to make too many changes in and fortunately I have a lot of opportunity to run the car down here. I can run it weekly, or I can run it, like I could run it today. They have an event going on today, they have an event going on tomorrow. So what I could do is change the front springs, run it tomorrow. But I still feel like the fueling is getting pretty dangerous for me to be messing around with it like this. So I'll put that in here. You can take a look at it and see it. But it's progressively getting better. Everything, the engine's running good. Transmission is working fantastic. And from here, we'll just have to keep plugging along and try to get it down in. I'd love to get it into the 120 60 foots before I run the 8th mile. That's kind of what I think is a good goal for this car, is to get it into the 120 60 foots and then run it out, or unless there's an event or something coming. But I'm feeling pretty close to where I want to be with it already. Not that it's going to be that fast, but I feel like right now I'm getting pretty close to what I want out of it for this kind of build process right now. I don't want to, I have a whole complete, I want to do a lot more to it, but there's going to be stages, and this is the first stage, and it's getting kind of close. Tires, I think, is certainly going to be another one, hitting it with a little more power. But on to the videos, and then we'll get back with you guys if I decide to go tomorrow or do some stuff this week. All right. All right, coming up, you're going to see the difference between the first week and the second week. Pay close attention to the rear tire and how in the first one, it basically basketballs the tire. And then in the second one, it pushes it down, not quite as aggressively, and it holds it. So just take a look at that. of show you what's going on the launch. So basically we're holding it steady. I have it set at 5200, 52 or 5300, I forget, on the ARC2 controller. So you can see coming out 22.9. Looks like I need to richen it up all the way around looking at it now. Don't know why that is like that, but it's basically running at about 13.1. Sorry, I keep moving this camera over to avoid the little start and stop, but I don't really need to do that. So basically we're starting out at 23 pounds on the hit, and then this is right where we take off there. I can see by the RPMs. And then, so we come out here 1.35 or so, 1.35. So you can see we're already at 13.8 air fuel ratio. Well, there's really no power up there, and we're close to 35 pounds of boost. And then obviously things happen pretty quick. So I was on it for another, looks like another second only. And we're at 41.5 pounds of boost, 15.5 air fuel ratio. Danger, Will Robinson, danger. About ready to blow this thing up. Split saddle thinks it's pretty quick. I don't think it's gonna burn it that quickly, but we'll see. I'll have to pull the plugs and see if there's any speckling or look at the pistons, but I think we're good. The engine's running good. So obviously I need to get some fuel in it, but yeah, there's no power with the wideband, showing this lean. It really needs to be in the 11s high, or low 12s to make in any power. This is really not making power. If anybody's ever ran E85, you realize you start getting that lean, it's not making power. So the reality is it's only making power right up to about 0.8 in the run, somewhere in there. Right around 12.6 is where it'll make pretty good power. Anything over that, it really starts to not have a lot of power. So I can imagine that's why the G-forces show it on the Draggy as well, that it's pretty well falls off, it slopes down pretty quickly. So that's, as far as that goes, that's the log. Other thing we can take a look at here is the battery. This might be something else I might need to address, is that I just have a Pathfinder battery on there, and probably the way I wired it's 160 amp alternator, so it's working really well, and I have almost a 1-to-1 pulley to keep the belt on, to keep from having issues. It works, so as long as it's turning and it doesn't change as the RPMs go up. If you notice, it goes down slightly, then goes back up, but it stays really steady at 12.5. So I may have it set to I may have it wired incorrectly, because really it should be like 13.5. So that would probably give a little more fuel with this pump, but we'll see. Right now I'm just gonna go ahead and work on the things I need to do, but I'll probably address that alternator as well, because if you look at the battery voltage right there, it's 12.4, 12.4, 12.3, 12.4. So it pretty well stays 12.4, 12.5. That's about as high as it goes. It goes like 12.7, 12.8 random once in a while, but right now it's, on the high side, it's 12.5. So the reason why I have this alternator on there is I've ran some other alternators, and man, the small Mitsubishi ones, you start putting a load. This is a 160 amp alternator, so it's a pretty good, it's just from the yard, it works really well. But you put a lot of load on those little Mitsubishi alternators, and they'll basically, you'll go down to 12 volts as you rev it up. Like as the injectors need more and the pumps need more, they'll start going down. And then the other thing I've ran into is when you start running higher RPMs, like I'll shift this at 9,000 once I get it all sorted out, and the alternators will cut out it's a balancing act. I really need like a high RPM, high amperage alternator, and I'm kind of hoping that this one fits the bill. But that's that. Let's see what else we got in here that we can look. 14 degrees timing. So for where we're at, that's probably pretty good. That's 13-to-1, 13 degrees timing there. So that could be a little more conservative off the hit. It's 14 degrees, goes down to 11 degrees. So I'll start adjusting this once I, this boost, I want to come out with this much boost, basically right about here. I'd like to end up having it around 35 to 37 pounds, and then just change timing tables right here. But as you can see, it's lean. Like it's definitely lean, and to the point where if I keep going, it would definitely blow up right there. I would definitely burn a piston. So that's something I have to address. But I'll throw this in here as well.